knows how you come across somebody once in a while you shouldn't have messed with? That's me.
I am not an African American.
You're Oreo cookie, white in the inside and black on the outside.
I don't have an afro, I have an Amerifro.
Talking that idiotic stuff you talk about, I will slap you.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Black as the ace of spades, but 100% American.
Heard around the world by everybody and their mama. The Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the show. Todd Stiefel is with me, president and founder of the Stiefel Free Thought Foundation. He is a secular humanist and an atheist and a full-time free thought activist. As long as this freedom doesn't apply to the Christians, though. Let's see here. Todd, good morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Jesse. How are you today?
All is well. Thank you for coming on with me.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask first, tell us a little bit about your Free Thought Foundation. What is the purpose of that?
It is to gain respect for free thinkers and ensure the complete separation of church and state.
And who is disrespecting the free thinkers at this point?
Well, a lot of different groups, primarily religious people in this country, have a bias against people who have a lack of faith or a lack of belief in God or gods. Typically, the lack of respect goes to people who believe in different gods or don't believe in their own God.
So are you saying that the Muslims are disrespecting the free thinkers?
Some of them are, and some Christians are as well.
And how do you know that the Muslims are doing it?
Well, I don't have any data specific to Muslims versus Christians, but I do have some pretty strong data in terms of the overall American population and how they view people without religious belief and the kind of discrimination we face. For example, Gallup has been tracking for almost 50 years now how people would vote. So they ask the question, if your party nominated a generally well-qualified person for president, so this is someone coming from your own party who is qualified, who happens to be blank, would you vote for that person? And they fill in that blank with a variety of criteria, including Catholic, African-American, atheist, etc., and consistently ranked lowest over the last 30 years has been atheist, even below homosexual, below Muslim, and vastly below African-American, for example. We're about at the levels that African-Americans were around the 50s and 60s. We currently, only 54% of the population would vote for us. That means almost half the population would vote against us just based on our atheism.
Well, in the past, in the good old days when boys were boys and men were men, atheists were not allowed to run for public office because they could not swear to God to uphold and enforce the law or enforce the Constitution, protect the Constitution. So that's not new that atheists, that people wouldn't support atheists in office, and they shouldn't, because you can't make a promise to God to do the right thing. You don't believe in God.
So you're saying we shouldn't be able to hold office?
Yes, absolutely, because you can't make a promise to God to do the right thing.
So do you think other groups should be prohibited from holding office? Do you think, for example, African Americans should be forbidden from holding office, or Muslims?
Well, I don't know why you bring black people. And the one thing that is disturbing about you people is that whenever you want to present your perverted ideas, you always bring blacks into it as though you care about black people, and it's a misuse of black Americans. The homosexuals have done it, the abortionists have done it, the women-hating men, the National Organization of Women Who Hate Men have done it, and now you guys are doing it. How long will you use black Americans for your personal gain? You people don't care about black people. And plus, we were discriminated against simply because we were black, no other reason. you guys are discriminated against rightfully because you don't believe in God. So you can't hold the office if you can't make a promise to God to do the right thing. That makes sense to me. Doesn't it make sense to you?
Absolutely not. And I think, first of all, you don't know how I feel about African Americans or other people.
I do. I know that you're misusing them right now by trying to make your godless ideas a civil rights idea. And so you're bringing in black people in order to use them for that. And every perverted liberal group have done that in this country, and it's time out for it. Present your own situation without using blacks. Use the Muslims. Say, bring them in with you, but don't use us anymore.
You're right. I think we should definitely only disparage one minority, not another. I think we should only talk about discrimination against one minority and not another one. I think
right, but why you got
right? We should totally discriminate against Muslims, but not talk about atheists.
But you're discriminating against blacks by bringing them into your personal godless agenda.
Jesse, I think here the purpose of my comparison is to talk about pains that have been suffered by Americans.
Well, you don't need to be talking about pains that blacks have gone. It's over for blacks. They're doing very well. I don't know if you noticed or not. They have a black president now. So use the gay group or use the abortionists or the National Organization of Women Who Hate Men or the Muslims. Do not use black people anymore. We've been used up.
Jesse,
all right, let's move forward.
I think the reason I bring it up is because it's something that other people can understand as a data point.
No, they cannot understand. You can't use us because you're trying to get some other perverted organizations or people to understand. Use the truth, and they will understand the truth, but don't use black people anymore. Here's
the truth. 7 states in the United States have constitutional provisions banning atheists from holding public office.
Right, good.
Does it sound unconstitutional?
No, that's not unconstitutional.
Really? Have you read the Constitution recently, which says there is no religious test for holding public office in this country? So this is the way this nation was founded. It's in the United States Constitution. If you don't like it, get the Constitution amendment. But in this country, all people, all Americans are allowed to hold office.
But the founders,
whether they're Muslim or not, the founders didn't want black people to hold office.
I told you not to use black people for your godless agenda.
Sir, I will state facts about the way this country was
founded. But use somebody else. Use the Mexicans or somebody. Don't use us anymore. Let me ask, you were interviewed on... You were interviewed recently on CNN, and they talked about all these flashy billboards in high traffic areas trying to encourage atheists to come out of the closet. Why is it now that you people are coming out of the woodwork? Is it because Obama is in the White House and he support all evil, or what is it that makes you come out now?
Wow. We're coming out and have been coming out for a while, but it's particularly important now because we do face discrimination. We face people such as yourself who believe we shouldn't be allowed to hold office and we should be second-class Americans.
Are you able to swear on the Bible to uphold the Constitution, enforce the law, do the right thing about America? Would you be able to put your hand on the Bible and sworn in? Would you swear to God to do the right thing?
According to the law of the United States of America, you do not have to swear on the Bible.
That's not the question.
You can take an oath.
I asked, would you, as an atheist, be able to put your hand on the Bible and swear to God to do the right thing?
Your question implies something that's false. Your premise is broken. You're saying that you're saying in this country you need to swear on a Bible to hold office. You do not. In this country, all Americans are allowed to hold office, as we are as well, regardless of what you swear on. You're not required to swear on a Bible in this country. As a matter of fact,
so you're not going to answer that question, right? You're not going to. Would you be able to put your hand on the Bible and swear to God? Yes or no?
Your question is
Hold on, Todd.
Sir.
Let me take a break. 888-7753-773. Back in a moment. Let me just say to all the liberal groups out there who are trying to change America from good to evil. Blacks were discriminated against not because they did or did not believe in God, not because they were or were not homosexuals, not because they did or did not hate men, not because they did or did not have abortions. Blacks were discriminated against not because they were or were not Mexicans. Blacks were discriminated against because of their color only, all right? And so bringing your perverted agendas into the forefront because you have the son of Satan in the White House doesn't give you permission to continue to use black people for your personal gain when you really can care less about black Americans. Just FYI, I have with me an atheist, Todd Stiefel, president and founder of the Stiefel's Free Thought Foundation, and they're trying to get some civil equality. Amazing. Hey, Todd?
Yes.
You never did answer the question. If you were elected to office, would you put your hand on the Bible and swear to God?
I will not answer the question as phrased because it's loaded. I would take a solemn affirmation.
It's loaded? What do you mean it's loaded? It's a simple yes or no.
It's a loaded question because that's not the law of this country. In this country, you're allowed to take a solemn affirmation to hold office. There is no requirement to swear on a Bible. As a matter of fact,
but it is a standard. It is a standard that when you are sworn into office, you use the Bible and make a promise to God. Is that true? And it's been around forever. No. Is that true or not?
It's an option, not a standard.
Oh my goodness!
And there's other legal options. You just spoke about a few things that I really do agree with. You talked about how black people, when they came to this country, were not discriminated against based on their belief in God, but on the color of skin. You're right. That's because when black people were brought to this country as slaves,
but I don't need you speaking about black people. Hey,
it was forced upon them.
I don't need you to come out of the woodwork.
Slave masters.
You don't need to tell me about black people, sir. I know about black people. You're just doing this because you're an atheist and you're trying to force it down people's throats.
Really?
And you want to you don't. I know about what happened to black people. I don't need to hear this from you. Let's talk about your lack of belief in God. Why is it that you don't believe in God?
I don't believe in God because God is not real.
How do you know?
I don't know. Neither do you.
So
no one knows for sure.
So then how can you say he's not real? Why not say, I don't know if he's real or not? Why are you saying he's not real?
I didn't. I will agree with the second phrasing is much better. I don't know if he's real or not.
Okay, then that makes a little bit more sense.
Either, but I don't believe either, but I don't know.
Do Christians have the right to disagree with you?
Of course.
And do they have the right to protest against you?
Yeah.
Okay. So then why are you trying to shut them down?
We're not.
You are.
Give me an example.
You're saying that if they disagree with you, that they're discriminated against you, they're trying to hold you down. You're trying to hold them down by discriminating against them. They have the same free thought, free speech as you do. We as Christians have a right to stand and say no to evil. And this is evil.
Well, I would say evil is more along the lines of people who believe other people shouldn't be allowed to hold office in this country.
Do you believe in evil?
I believe in the concept that people label things as evil. I believe in right and wrong. I believe in doing the right thing. I believe in easing suffering.
Do you believe in evil, that there is evil?
Not in this inherent form. I believe people do evil things sometimes, but I don't believe in the concept of evil.
And what causes people to do evil at times?
People can be greedy.
What causes them to do good at times?
People can be altruistic as well.
Let's go to the phone.
Not being human.
Bobby, go to the guy you're on with, Todd Stiefel.
Here's why atheists cannot be trusted. If you look at their, hi Todd. If you look at their past history, especially, in politics especially, you will see that atheists are the worst of the worst. They are the ones who set up the system of communism. Everywhere they go, they are all about total government. Because if you don't have God as your source and as your guiding light, you have to have something else, and that is called government. And everywhere the atheists set up shop, and they have been, you know how they say the Christians are the ones who, because of religion, there's been more wars fought. No, there's been more people killed by atheists than anything else, and atheists are communists, and they always go that way against freedom. See, it was the pure Christians that set up freedom and a free country. It wasn't the atheists. The atheists set up communist states.
Let's get a response. Go ahead, Todd.
Well, personally, I'm a free market capitalist and despise communism. It's a complete failure and joke, and almost every atheist I know is a major capitalist and a big fan of democracy.
You guys must hate Obama then.
Well, I can't speak for all atheists. I can speak for myself. I am not a big Obama fan at all.
If you support capitalism, I understand.
I think his populist message is obnoxious, and I think that the government's gotten way too large. We need to shrink the government dramatically. It's gotten completely out of control. I'm a believer in freedom, and I think that
right. Well, freedom and free market capitalism is from Christianity, and it's not from anywhere else. If you look around the world and the history of the world, freedom is most propagated by Christians, real Christians. I'm talking about, like our founding fathers, not by atheists like yourself. We can't trust you. We can't trust you. Communism comes from atheism. We cannot trust you to propagate freedom. You pose people who want to be free, but you are against freedom.
Let's get a response from Todd. Go ahead, Todd.
Communism comes from a variety of sources. I'll tell you this, sir. I'm on your side on this one. I'm anti-communist very, very strongly and in favor of small government.
Are you a libertarian, Todd?
I lean libertarian. I'm not a pure libertarian. For example, I think it would be a mistake to get rid of the public school system. I don't think the private sector would step in to educate the inner cities. But I'm a libertarian overall.
Where do you, Bobby, go to God. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Where do you get your values from, Todd?
I get my values from the way I see people respond. I get my values from...
What do you mean by the way you see...
Right.
I'm sorry?
I get my values from creating well-being and reducing suffering. And
how do you get your values from the way people respond? What do you mean by that? Because each person responds differently.
That's right.
So how do you get your values from that? Are you constantly switching values or something?
No, I judge my values based on the consequences. So if I am going to do something ill, I can predict that it's going to create suffering, and I'm not going to do that. I don't want to create suffering for the people around me. I want to create joy and happiness and love.
Well, why don't you love Christians? You're trying to create suffering for them.
I do love Christians. My wife is a Christian.
Oh, poor wife. Let me take a quick break, Todd. 888-7753-773. Back in a moment. Preachers in the Pulpit coming up in the next hour. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Todd Stiefel is with me. He is an atheist, and he wants some civil rights too. We were talking about that. Todd, let me ask. I read that you were born in Albany, New York, to Catholic parents. You were raised in a Catholic household, confirmed in the church, attended Sunday school, went to a Catholic high school, and you was quoted as saying, I was a cross-wearing, praying, religious, retreat Catholic. You said you could say there were points that I felt the Spirit. You felt the Spirit. And then what happened to you that caused you to turn away from all that?
I learned about the Bible.
You learned about the Bible?
sir.
And that caused you to turn away from God?
Exactly.
And what did you learn about the Bible that caused you to turn away from God?
You know, it was interesting. Going to Catholic school, I was exposed to the Bible a lot, but only specific parts of it. They didn't teach me a lot about. There were certain things they never showed us. There's a lot of things they didn't teach us about, maybe tried to hide from us.
Like what, for an example?
Well, for example, the histories behind it, the book of Job, for example, and the wagers God played with the man's happiness and suffering. Basically, the main thing, though, was when I learned about the history and how it was created and the fact that the God of the Old Testament is younger than the pyramids and that Yahweh was just another pagan deity in the ancient Middle East. But he was the pagan deity that happened to survive versus the others, mostly through conquest. And
do you blame your parents for allowing that to happen to you?
Allowing what to happen to me? Learning about the Bible?
Yeah.
No, I don't blame my parents for letting me learn about the Bible.
Do you blame them for...
your parents for letting you learn about the Bible.
Do you blame them for the church hiding the Bible from you or parts of the Bible?
No.
No. Let me ask, are there any civil rights Christians, Americans, are there any civil rights that Christian Americans have that atheists don't have?
No, we have our rights according to the law, not necessarily in practice, but in law we do.
But are there any rights that the Christians have that you as an atheist don't have?
There are some specific privileges that Christian groups are given that other groups are not given. Religious groups in general, not just Christians.
We're talking about the atheists. Are there civil rights that they have that the atheists don't have? Are there any?
Not civil rights, but there are some special privileges and rules built into the law. So, for example, in a number of states, a secular daycare center, so any daycare center run by anyone, but including anyone's run by atheists, are required to meet certain laws for child well-being, such as the number of supervisors per child. But if you establish a religious daycare center, you're not required to meet those standards. You're given an exemption purely on religious grounds.
And you don't like that?
Well, I don't think anybody should be exempted from child safety laws.
Do you think...
Well, for everyone.
And so why not just work on changing that law rather than going after the Christians?
Oh, we are working on changing those laws, and we're not going after the Christians. I think we should clarify one thing. There's this misconception out there that we're trying to take away rights from Christians and we're trying to take away the ability of Christians and other religious people to talk about Jesus and talk about their faith and to pray in public. I would stand right there beside you and fight for your right to pray in public.
So you would disagree then with Mickey Weinstein, founder of the Military Religious Freedom Foundation. They met with the Pentagon, and they're trying to stop proselytizing in the military. So you disagree with Mickey then, right? Mikey.
I agree with Mikey because he's not trying to stop anyone from being able to talk about
Yes,
God.
he is. He's trying to stop them in the military.
No, he's not actually. What he's trying to stop...
Is it hard to be honest? Since you don't believe in God, you can't tell the truth about anything?
Oh, I can tell the truth about lots of things.
Well, why are you... I have Mikey on the show. They do not want Christian proselytizing in the military.
That is true. But...
You just said he didn't want that. Now you're saying it is true.
How about I state what my feeling is on the subject?
May I hold you over for one more segment?
Yep.
Hold on. And I'll let you respond to that question when I come back.
There is superstition that us about to fall. 13 months old baby, from dark and black. So I won't hesitate no more. It cannot wait. I'm sure there's no need to complicate our time.
In the third hour today, we're going to talk to David Capellian. He is an award-winning journalist. He wrote a very interesting article, Americans Snapping by the Millions. And I see that happening all the time. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome back. 888-775-3773. 888-77-JESSE. Todd, before we go back to the phones here, I ask if you agree with Mikey that there should not, Mikey Weinstein, founder of the Military Religious Freedom Foundation. First of all, do you believe that the Pentagon should have met with him?
Sure. I think it was good that they met with him and heard about some of the challenges that his clients are facing. 96% of his clients are Christians, and he went in there and helped explain some of the discrimination they're facing in the military.
But I read a report over the weekend that that's not true, and a lot of the Christians don't want Mikey there, and they don't agree with what he's trying to do. You said before the break that you did not agree with Mikey that proselytizing should be banned in the military. You don't agree with that.
No, let me clarify. What I believe should be allowed to happen in the military, and I believe Mikey would agree with this, is that people can express that they're a Christian, they can share their faith, they can be very open in expressing their points of view. But what they shouldn't be doing is using a position of command to force their religion
That's
on
not happening.
officers of lower rank.
There's no proof that that is happening at all. That's what.
Well, it's definitely happening.
But that's what atheists say in order to get their agenda across. Should Jews and Christians. Should Muslim be allowed to have prayer at noontime in the military? Should they stop everything to go to prayer?
Well, are you saying? I guess let me understand the question. Are you saying should Muslims be given special religious exemptions to pray at certain times a day?
Yes.
That's a tough question. I haven't really thought about that one before.
Why is that tough? If I had asked that about the Christian, you would have had a problem answering that. Why is it tough about the Muslims?
Well, I think that there is certain religions. People are going to ask for different exemptions, and the key in the military is to not hurt morale and not hurt command.
So should the the Muslims be given a special right to do that?
I don't know if it's necessarily a special right.
Should they be given that at all?
I think it would depend on where they are. Certainly not in combat. But
it's amazing. It's amazing how you people are so cowardice and cowardly when it's time to deal with the Muslim, but it's easy to jump on the Christian. Why is that?
So I'm not afraid to criticize Islam or.
Well, you seem to be backing down from it. You're not.
I'm not back. That was as I said, that's an issue I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about or researching. But Islam has its faults, just like Christianity does, and I'm not afraid to criticize.
Okay, then just for the record, should they be given special rights to shut down at noontime in the military and go have prayer?
I'll say something our politicians should say more often when they don't know enough.
No,
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
That's amazing.
I don't know.
Should Christians be given that right?
I don't know. I think that the right should be given equally, and the government shouldn't be treating one religion ahead of any other. That's what I do believe.
888-775-3773. Let's go down to Lovejoy, Georgia, and talk to Paul. Paul, you're on with Todd.
Yes, Todd, I have one question. It seems like you contradicted yourself. You say you do not believe in God, and I heard you mention something about a wife. Wasn't the first marriage performed by God Almighty himself? Hello?
No. My wife is a Christian. Marriage is something that dates back well before even the existence of Christianity. So
it is. When was the first marriage performed then? I was under the impression that God performed the first marriage.
You can believe that, but I don't know when the first marriage was performed.
So if you don't know, how can you tell me that God didn't perform the first marriage? You just said you didn't know.
Do you know? How do you know God did it if you don't know when?
The first marriage was performed in the Garden of Eve, of Adam and Eve. That's what I believe. But you can't tell me that now. I could be wrong, I could be right. But you're saying that you don't know it. I'm saying that the first one was performed by God of Adam and Eve. Now, someone that's more knowledgeable of the Bible than I am probably could tell you for a definite fact. If you don't believe in God,
I don't believe Adam and Eve ever existed, so I don't believe that marriage ever took place.
But that is your belief.
That's true.
Okay, then why would you get married if marriage is a biblical idea and you don't believe in the Bible? Why would you get married?
Marriage is far more than a biblical idea. People in China have been getting married for a long time, and they're not Christians.
And I don't want to take up all the time because I know Jesse got other calls. But one more thing. You said that there's no proof of God. If you want to see proof of God, go outside and look in the sky and look at the sun. Or either look at a volcano erupting. That's beautiful, plenty proof of God.
It is beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, and no person could have done that.
No person did. It's gorgeous, though.
Yes.
Paul, thank you so much, buddy.
Sure.
I appreciate it. Okay, Todd, you have a website or something you'd like to give out?
StiefelFreeThoughtFoundation.org or Facebook.com/StiefelFreeThoughtFoundation.
Be sure to let your little atheist friends know they can no longer use blacks for their godless agenda, and don't try to do that anymore. It's offensive, it's racist, and it shows a lack of respect for what Black America, those black folks who died for me and other blacks to be free in this country. It just shows a lack of respect. What you should do is, as you're doing here, jump on board with the National Organization of Women Who Hate Men, the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender folks. Do it with those people. Those are godless people. They're abortion people, but don't use Black America. It shows your racism when you do that.
Well, and I think for your listeners, we show where each of us stands. I stand for everyone being allowed to hold office in this country.
Right, but don't use black people for that.
By our
right?
government.
Todd, thank you so.
We should all be treated equally, Jesse.
Thank you so much, but don't use black people. Thank you, Todd.